You know what time it is. That's right. It's time for Rivals Assemble, a Marvel Rivals podcast. I am your host, Mark Turcotte. I'm so glad each and every one of you are joining us here this week for episode 9. And it's funny. Sometimes life just throws a little curveball at you. And this week we were all set to talk about these new Lunar Skins, some Doctor Strange lore, and then out of nowhere, they give us a little Season 1 teaser with the Fantastic Four. So to break it all down with me here, first up, Mr. Matt Clark. Matt, what's up, dude?
Hey, Mark. It's feeling a little hot in here. It's like somebody said flame on or something. Super stoked to talk about the FF, Marvel's first family. So much good stuff to talk about tonight, dude.
Oh, man. It really, it blew me away this morning when that came across. I don't know. We've heard some rumors, I will say, of things, but to actually see it just kind of... Love it. And also joining us here, of course, Neil. Neil, what's up, dude?
Rivals Assemble. We're here.
Again.
Ready to go. Again. Hey, guys. Hey, everyone. Looking forward to another episode and get the fam together.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I'm seriously, man. I was like, and I'm even just as we're recording this right now, super excited. I love it.
I'm still riding high on the launch hype, and they just keep feeding me. So,
well, I want to talk about that because that's just right now, Rivals is everywhere. So we're going to talk about that here just in just a little bit. But also, I want to give a little shout out to Ken's. Ken's is not with us tonight. He's feeling okay. Just his voice isn't right there, and I think if he was on the show, it would be like razor blades coming through to everybody. So we definitely don't want him here on the podcast because I think that'd be not too good for him to be there. So he hopefully will be back next week with us, and we will get him in here. So a little bit of housekeeping here on the show. Don't forget, you can always follow us on Twitter at Rivals Assemble. You can also follow us on Twitch and YouTube at Rivals Assemble Pod. And the best way to get in contact with us, guys, is definitely through Spotify. Leave us some comments over there. We have some great comments coming later up on the show from you guys. So go ahead and leave us a comment over there. And big thank you to everybody over on Spotify who answered the poll. You guys answered us over there. And we had our poll for who is the strongest Vanguard in the game. And 64% of the vote went to good old Doctor Strange. So, Matt, what do you think of Doctor Strange getting the win here?
I think it's very, very interesting because as someone who has tried to become a better Doctor Strange player, I've yet to unlock all his facets. I thought that it would have been Thor because Thor seems like one of the hardest Vanguards that you face down. He is the one who is diving. He is the one who, when I am Jeff the Shark or I'm Luna Snow or I'm Cloak and Dagger, I'm constantly running away from him. So I'm not mad that it's Doctor Strange. And we'll get to talk about him in a little bit. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time. So, I'm super stoked about it. But also, had dozens of people participate in the poll. You guys are going to spoil us, and we're going to go from tens of comments and votes to hundreds soon.
We're doing it, dude. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm telling you guys, Spotify is the best way, man. Best way to keep in touch with us. Neil, what do you think? Strange getting the win?
I might have voted for him. I forget who I voted. I did vote last time, but I have been on a Strange kick this week, trying to learn all I can and unlock those powers. The shield's good. He's got his primary fire is a little different, but it's interesting. We'll talk more about that.
Well, you know what? Here, I'm going to say this, dude. Here's the key to Strange, because this week I actually dove into Strange as well. In my original vote, I picked Penny on this because Penny was coming up in a lot of the convoy maps or any of the push maps you come across. But by the end of this week and coming into this podcast here, I think I'm on the Strange kick, dude, too.
Strange
he is great. But here's the thing. So his primary, it's kind of slow.
Right.
You can get some good damage, and you always want to build up that darkness. Every time you hit, you build up that meter to kind of unleash the darkness.
Yeah.
And I was watching a lot of people in the competitive tournament and just streamers online always using their melee.
Yes.
That's the key, dude. Use his melee. Use that whip, whatever it is he's got that he's whipping out. That builds your meter quicker than it does. And whenever you're going to use your darkness, you always want to kind of be right up on top of people anyways.
Yeah, right.
So you kind of rush them, melee a few times, and then your meter builds up and then burst it out. Like that is the best way, I think, to use that ability. It's great. It works.
It's got some AoE to it, so you can hit multiple people with it. And then also, I think to maximize min-max, get your DPS up, you get more damage by doing primary fire, melee. And the other thing to do, you can also do that with your shield. So at least having your shield up for at least a second in between your primary fires is going to give you something. And I guess it's faster. I don't know if it's actually faster or not, but at least you get to do something while you're waiting to do your next attack. You get something out of it instead of just standing there.
Well, one of the reasons we see the big switch as well is because there is an animation cancel, and we have someone in Twitch talking about it as well right now. How when you switch from primary fire to that melee, it's cutting down on that animation time. So instead of your attacks going out, taking longer to go out, you're able to get more hits out effectively. But also, interesting thing I saw this week, Flats, big Overwatch player, but also has done a lot in conjunction with Rivals, has helped them do some reveals as well. Apparently, there is, not just with Doctor Strange, but with all the characters, and he showed it on Doctor Strange, is why I'm bringing it up. If you are running lower FPS, then your character is moving slower and not as far, which was insane. So he showed examples that like someone running like 200 something FPS versus like 20 FPS, and how like on surges forward and on attacks they did less damage and they went less far. Words is hard right now. They didn't go as far. Sorry. And so that's an interesting thing that I'm hoping, if more people notice and more people are vocal about, will be changed, because that's
but when you have somebody like Flats putting that out there, who is, like you mentioned, he's a pretty big Overwatch streamer, YouTuber. Hopefully,
a few people will watch him.
They will see that and make sure to go ahead and fix that up. Let's talk about our poll for next week. So again, and I'm sorry I was kind of scrambling in the beginning and kind of rushed through that. Just a little behind the curtain, the stream was acting all wacky, so that's why I just started like rambling, trying to get these guys back in the stream, because they actually can't even talk if they're not there.
Mark, you never let them see you sweat. That's the magic of live,
man. They're all family. All our listeners are family, man. They're all here, part of the Rivals Assemble family.
Then I need a loan.
But our poll for next week is, and we're getting a little bit specific on this one, because we can just say duelist, but there's obviously way too many duelists in the game. So we're breaking it down, and the first poll is best diving duelist. So
Matt's favorite.
Your choices are Wolverine, Iron Fist, Psylocke, Black Panther, Magic, and Spider-Man.
Hate them all.
Spider-Man.
Hate them all.
So yeah,
Spider-Man.
Who is the best duelist? If you want to vote and have your voice heard, again, listen to the show over on Spotify. All you got to do, click on the episode, scroll down, you'll see the poll there. And quick note, make sure you've updated to the latest version of Spotify and whatever app you're using, because my phone was not updated to it, and so I couldn't see the comments actually in Spotify. And so
interesting.
Yeah, so make sure you're updated to the latest version of Spotify. If you're not seeing that you can either comment or even the poll's not there, go ahead and do that, and you'll be able to get in there. But
if you're going to go vote for who your favorite is, tell us in the comments on Spotify who you hate the most. Which diving duelist you hate the most, not like
all of
your
them.
Stepmom or anything like that.
Hey, I had a good Wolverine game this morning, dude. It was me and an Iron Fist. It was great. Like, we weren't even like on mics, but like we were just communicating.
Yeah, of course it was great.
So much fun, dude. It was on Clintar. We were pushing the map, and we just kept going around the side. Oh, it was beautiful. Until a Penny put literally all her mines in one corner. We both popped around the corner.
Yeah,
all of like four mines just all went off and just took us out.
Women in STEM, let's go.
It was still great. But we're moving on here. Let's move on here to our news segment that we call the Not So Daily Bugle News.
J. Jonah Jameson here.
All right, guys. Well, like we mentioned here at the top of the show, got a very, very nice surprise here today, and that was the Season 1 teaser with the reveal of the, what do they call them? The Marvel's First Family?
Marvel's First Family, yeah.
Marvel's First Family.
I'd like
Fantastic Four.
to object to that. We have Wanda and Magneto. And he even says, like, yes, daughter, right?
Yeah, but who came first, Neil? That's the point. The Fantastic
is...
Four were before the X-Men. That was like...
But it's also kind of like
okay,
in the sense of like the thin comparison to like the U.S. government, how the First Lady, the First Family there, it's kind of, you know, the Fantastic Four are like Marvel royalty, if you will.
okay.
Yeah, because I mean, they were the book that really...
Marvel's first, not Marvel Rivals First Family. I missed.
Yeah, no. I mean, this was before X-Men. I mean, the Fantastic Four, like when Stanley and Kirby like made them, that was like huge. I mean, what was the whole story was like they knew that DC was making their like team book, like the Justice League, and so they were like, we want to come up with our own team, but they wanted it to be a family. Like Sam wanted them to literally be a family who aren't wearing masks, not out like they were just publicly known. And that's what they came up with. And that's what's kind of always been compelling, I think, about the Fantastic Four is that they're just kind of out there, you know, which is cool. So let's talk about these characters. We know we're getting Human Torch, we're getting Thing, we're getting Mr. Fantastic, and we're getting Invisible Woman. So first of all, just initial impressions. What do you guys think of these being the first new heroes outside of the launch cast?
So I will preface this by saying that some of these were leaks, and as a point of order, like we don't discuss leaks, we don't discuss, you know, rumors, just because anybody can draw create.
I can't draw very well.
Anybody can draw this. But also we want to respect the developers in their game by, you know, not playing into the leaks and things. So I had seen this kind of confirms models of Human Torch and Mr. Fantastic that I had seen. And I'm interested to see how similar these models could be to the new Fantastic Four movie coming out. If there's any synergy there.
I was thinking the same thing, dude.
Because Mr. Fantastic looks super
jacked.
What's the word? Yeah, but like he looks like lumberjacky, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like the beard and the
little Paul
bushy
Bunyan.
hair.
Little Paul Bunyan.
I love the whole game reminds me of like anime inspirations, and specifically there's like a Fantastic Four anime adjacent kind of cartoon that came out in the early 2010s, I believe it was. And this reminds me a lot of that animation style and that look and feel.
The aesthetic.
Thank you for that word. But yeah, I'm just a big Fantastic Four fan. Loved the Fox movies. I'm stoked for this.
Now,
I'm pretty sure this was my first. Like this movie came out before Spider-Man.
No, well. There was one that was made that was never officially released, I think, in the 80s, but that's
the Johan Gruffaud, Jessica Alba, Chris Evans one was like a year maybe after Spider-Man one. Because for everybody out there who listened to MCU Phase 0,
I did.
All 3 episodes.
When's the Blade one coming? Did you do Blade?
Blade episode?
I'd started on that. That's literally another podcast.
Anyway, I think this is my first exposure to Marvel. Like I wasn't into the comic books or anything. I saw that Spider-Man movie. I saw this movie. So it was awesome. I remember it being great. Loved it.
I mean, I liked the movies. I remember as a kid, like the cartoon on TV. I mean, I don't know if you got like the original, like back when obviously X-Men was out. There was like an Iron Man cartoon, Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer cartoon, all those like, you know, we're talking like 93, 94. I loved the Fantastic Four series. And so actually we're going to talk a little bit later. We had a message, people asking for our top 5 characters. And I was ready today to come in with Human Torch and Thing. And of course now we know they're coming. So they're no longer on that list.
Just them?
Well, they were going to be on that list, but like now having Thing and Hulk ready to go, I cannot wait to see what those battles are going to be like, running those lanes with those 2 characters. So I want to go through and let's talk about the different characters and what we think their abilities are. So let's start with Thing.
Obviously Vanguard.
He's got to be, right? And
or he's going to be the most OP strategist ever.
But I mean, he's got to have clobbering time, right, for his ultimate. It's got to be what it's called, and I'm sure he's just going to buff up and go crazy. But I remember talking about the Hulk and wanting the Hulk, I think back in the alpha we talked about it, pick up a piece of the ground and chuck it. And I could see him doing that either, well, hopefully not of himself, but picking up a chunk of the concrete and just tossing it and somehow throwing rocks or doing something like that. And then clobbering time, I think just giving him some sort of damage boost. And then a leap.
Oh, that's going to be his ult line too. It's clobbering time.
It better be, because if it's not, then they just hang it up.
If he yells something about Yancey Street, I'm going to be like, nope, delete. Unsubscribe.
What do you think, Neil, for Thing? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. I don't. Besides his power, he's obviously made of stone, right? So he's got some good protective elements. Melee. We'll see. Yeah, if he gets some range, kind of like the Hulk in that Marvel, the Avengers game. You know how he had that ranged ability, he'd pick up the ground and throw it. That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a mix between the Hulk and Groot with maybe shaping the stones. Can he do that? Does he have any sort of abilities to?
Not that I know of in the
no,
books, right?
But I think this could be an opportunity for creative license. Because I was even thinking how would he work, in the multiverse where he becomes a strategist and be maybe he casts his orange stone skin around somebody and he's temporarily human, for 30 seconds of a cooldown or whatever. I don't know.
You have this in some other games like stone golems, and they can rock shields on other people and stuff
cool.
like that.
Yeah,
too,
I
right?
picture him. Anybody that played Paragon or I can't think of the name. Predecessor. There's a character Rampage, and that's where I'm thinking of him picking up the ground and throwing it for a stun. Now Ken's, like I said, who can't be with us, he's actually in the chat right now. He said he wants Thing's ult to be like Reinhardt's in Overwatch, where you hammer down and you slam the hammer. I could see Hulk,
a big shockwave,
or not Hulk, Thing doing something like that, like a big shockwave where he pounds the ground and it either sends out a shockwave that puts a cone stun of some kind,
Yeah. Oh wow, Ken's wants a Reinhardt port. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, if he's saying clobbering time, well, I guess if he's clobbering the ground and it's a massive stun.
Like a Donkey Kong pound.
Yeah.
Dude, the voice line for its clobbering time in Japanese is gonna be so sick.
Matt has discovered this week and showed us if you play with the Japanese audio, this game goes so much harder than it does.
The voice lines,
it's incredible.
I am Groot is Ore wa Groot. And when he ults, it is Ore wa Groot. And it's just so hard.
Yeah.
Did you turn it on in your game?
I switched to it
Nice.
for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I need to go back just so I can be able to recognize what people are saying.
It's awesome. What about Human Torch, Johnny Storm? What do you guys think for his kit? What do you want to see? Fire.
I think he's going to be another annoying duelist. Basically, going
as
back
opposed
to
to non-annoying duelists.
Well, I don't think Black Widow is a super annoying duelist. She can't one-shot me, so she's chill. But I think he's gonna be light Iron Man on fire, and that's gonna be Human Torch.
Can he throw fire? He can throw fire, right?
Yeah, comes out of his hands, and even a wall, right? There's got to be some sort of flame wall or something he throws up, or a line or something like that.
I don't know if they'd give him a flame wall because, well, they could, and there might be some synergy with Invisible Woman. that maybe he can like turn her barriers or whatever they are into fire walls.
Oh,
That'd be
yeah,
sick.
that might be. Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
And then
So
you shoot
instead
through
of
the
just like a clear
firewalls.
bubble,
It
Go ahead.
gives you damage boosts, right? Like a Baptiste ult. Shoot through the
That would
firewall,
be
and your bullets catch on
dope.
fire, do extra damage.
That would be sweet. Yeah.
A Hawkeye
that.
shooting through that.
What about for an ult like a supernova? Right? Can he like kind of blow himself up? Like,
So what do you think that would be more like an Iron Man ult, or do you think it would be more like a strange a strange ult?
I think more like a strange. Like he needs to get. You got to get in there to do it.
AoE.
I don't see
Around you.
ranged all at all. I see him getting right in there and.
Hear me
What
out.
if you just blind everybody?
Like flashbang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Like solar
Or-
flare, like Krillin.
Team, don't look at me.
He
Could it in-
creates a ring of fire around like characters, which like kind of like a MAGA ult where you can't get out of it
Ah,
unless
be
you're a
cool.
member of
trapped
that
in here with me.
But
Yeah.
see, I would see Invisible Woman doing that with an invisible wall around you.
Well, yeah, sure, but it's cooler if it's fire.
Oh, you can light it on fire. Why not with him too? That's team up.
I want her to do the thing where she can create the invisible bubble in you and then like blow it up and you just pop.
that would be
Oh,
sweet.
wow.
Wow.
Ugh.
What if they put in actual, just straight up invisible walls? Like she could just, she's the one putting the barriers, and you just can't see it if you're on the other team. So you're just walking, thinking you're going to flank, or and it's
That'd be
almost,
so annoying.
and
but
it's
so
almost like
awesome.
a Doctor Strange portal where you can do it from range, but like set it up so like you can just totally block off a flank.
creating an invisible wall. And that's what you hear. Hire me.
I think they just recorded their voice line. They're done.
That's
Release
it.
it
So
tomorrow.
Guan, get Guan on the line.
Johnny.
So I mean, yeah, for her, what are we thinking? That's some sort of wall barrier shield. I mean,
What if she's the Vanguard,
That would be dope.
creating space, right? If she does stuff like that, and
I
can-
could,
Yeah.
because I can.
She
I can
absorb
see
energy?
her
Is that a thing
having
or no?
like? Go ahead. What was that, Neil?
Does she absorb energy, or she just kind of like deflects it?
It's a great question because it depends on what stage and they make her power set. Because originally it was literally like she has the power to turn invisible, but then it became that
Right.
she could
that's it.
Invisible Woman.
create like invisible constructs, control them with her mind, things like that. So it all depends on how creative they want to get with it. I could like if she were a Vanguard, that'd be dope. I would actually love that. But I could also see her being like,
Duelist.
I mean, she could be any of it. Let's be
Yeah.
real. She
Hmm.
she can write the check. But as a strategist, maybe her walls, if you were in proximity to them, they heal. So like think like a Groot wall,
Oh,
but it's a more consistent
Hmm.
heal. Almost like a Baptiste wall, but yes, it's going to amplify it, but it's also going to heal you while you're there. That would actually be a super dope ultimate to have, like that big wall that she just puts up, and you play it like a Baptiste wall. You save it for that moment where it's like an AoE heal, but also a big buff.
Oh, that'd be pretty sweet. Now, what about old Reed himself? I mean, he's got to have like the Scorpion get over here, right? Where he can just stretch his arms out and just grab people, pull them, like get over here. But it's Reed Richards, get over here, pulling you over.
I don't know what kind of mobility he's going to have. It's either going to be insane or underwhelming, I think.
I could see him being almost like a Venom if he's a Vanguard, where he's able to pull and kind of swing. I mean, not really. I mean, I guess he could swing, but like he's almost going to be a dive tank, kind of where you're able to pull yourself in and jump into areas. And then, I mean, he's got to go big, right? I mean, are we thinking he's going to go like flat and like be able to be a big shield and kind of block your team? That's going to be his ultimate shield.
yeah.
That would be dope as a Vanguard to have him just like poof,
Big rubber
puff up.
and
Yeah.
bouncing everything back.
In like, because the Fantastic Four were part of the big focus of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And I really loved his kit there because they really maximized the amount of things that he could do. So one was kind of like a flurry of blows, if you will. Kind of like, think Wolverine, but punching with big fists.
Nice.
So just like a hurricane of big fists hitting you. Kind of taking, oh, he can stretch, but really making him playable as an offensive character. Maybe they could like, one is like a big fist and then one is like a blade almost, and you can just like cut or punch.
Oh, that would be
Depending
cool.
on your trigger. Who knows?
Yeah, depending on what you're using.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be pretty neat.
I think he's going to be more crowd control than actual damage.
Which is fine.
Can't you just like grab everybody, pull them in?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, his ult, dude. Or did you ever see like how he wraps himself around people to kind of hold them tight? Like, could that be the ult, or is that even an ability? The stun is he literally wraps himself like a rubber band, kind of around the people.
Could he? Will we be able to throw Wolverine as him? So like make Doctor Strange, make Mr. Fantastic a slingshot, and Cannonball Special Wolverine like that? Because wasn't that we were told that we'd get other pair ups to?
Oh yeah,
throw
and they're supposed to change every season, I think.
That would be dope.
Now, what about skins? If I had to pick a skin for these, I want the Ben Grimm with the trench coat and hat.
Oh yeah,
how he's always trying to be undercover, doesn't like the way. I think that'd be great. And then Mr. Fantastic, who is it? Was it over the last? I might be screwing this up. Was it Secret Empire where Reed had like the big crazy, or it was like a future Reed that came in and he had like the big head? Not head. It was like a helmet. What's that? What was he called?
And
it was
the
Reed.
Maker.
The Maker. Yes,
that was Ultimate.
That skin.
Ultimate Fantastic Four.
I want that skin.
Which if you haven't read the Ultimate Fantastic Four or any of the Ultimate line from Marvel, please go back and read it. The current one is all right, but go back to the early 2000s and read that. So good.
I'm pretty sure he shows up in Venom as well.
He's become a very big player.
It's a great issue
in comics now.
What do you think, skins? Anybody met or anything?
I think you're going to have... I think they're going to maximize a lot here on the team look. So like OG 60s.
Oh yeah.
60s Fantastic Four. We'll get a Marvel Studios pack for sure. Maybe I think it's just going to be different looks throughout the years. There's some really cool looks in the late 90s, early 2000s. If you can see the comic image I'm about to describe, like the Captain America chest, that's like
huge.
He's standing profile, but his chest is like a foot out. That kind of like extreme caricature-ness that comics used to be, like hyper muscular and stuff. There are some great volumes of the Fantastic Four then when they were a little more inspired by like pulp science fiction, if you will, a little bit more not what am I trying to say? Not like Mad Max, but I don't know, a little more dystopian science fiction-y with like big weaponry and things like that.
Cool.
They're big into the gadgets, so I could see that being like a
cool
big suits of armor and stuff.
Ken's mentions that the Maker was in the Cates run, and that's where I'm thinking of him from, because I knew it was something recent. I'm like, where was the Secret Empire? Where it was, and it was the Donny Cates Venom run that the Maker.
Donny Cates,
big part of that.
Love him.
So wait, who's this robot guy? Is he another?
It's Herbie.
Yeah, is he going to be a playable, or do you think he's going to just help him out?
I mean, maybe he's the new Jeff.
I don't know.
Maybe he's the new Jeff. No.
Why not?
Or
what does he do? He's there's like
or is he with someone? Like is he with Sue, like Invisible Woman? Like are they actual like a cloak and dagger combo?
There you go.
Oh, make the woman the twofer character again. Don't give her her own spotlight. I see what we're doing here. All right.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, man. I don't know. She's patting him on the head. He looks pretty excited to be up there.
Maybe
His art
that's
is
her
great.
ult. She throws him out and then explodes, like detonates him, and he. Ooh, well,
Nah, maybe not.
poor time to. Never mind.
Oh yeah, terrible. Real quick too, the background. I mean, we see the Baxter building, obviously.
We're totally getting a map. Let's be real. Come on.
You think it's going to be in the Baxter building, or we're talking like the streets of New York City, or
Probably
both?
streets.
Like maybe there's one phase where it's like, a domination map and you're three different levels of the Baxter building. Like you start on the ground floor. One, maybe what we see in that image where it's kind of the glass window looking out over New York City. And then the last one is on the roof. Like Galactus coming down.
That'd be cool.
Because I think this is going to tie into the season story, like how Wakanda did for season 0.
Yeah. True.
So I think we're going to have a few different stages. One of them will definitely be inside the Baxter building, I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe like Reed's lab. And it's like
cool.
A lot of
because then you open up into like the negative zone and all their rogues gallery and things like that. So.
A lot of things happening in the background in this image too. Nice little maybe a red sun
bats?
or moon and
what
maybe some
chronoverse
bats?
you think this is part of? Present day or one of the weird ones?
Oh,
I think it'll be present day.
I think it's going to
like
be
future, right?
I think it's going to be its own chronoverse. I think every season we're like getting a full on like addition to the chronoverse. I think, but I don't know, maybe not. But
freaking bats! I love Halloween.
Yep, lots of bats flying around back there.
Batman confirmed. There we go.
I confirm.
I think we know what those bats might mean, kind of in the background. But we'll have to wait. So this Monday, January 6th, we're actually getting the full season 1 trailer. So next week we will definitely be talking about that.
Group chat, huh?
Here on the podcast. Let's see. Moving on past that and some other news this week, guys. We also had the reveal of some new skins coming to the game. And these are the Lunar Skins. There's one for both Moon Knight and Squirrel Girl. These are launching January 3rd. And actually, probably by the time you're listening to this, they're probably already out now. But we're getting the Cheerful Dragoness. And over on the Twitter page, they say the Cheerful Dragoness awakens for the mystical force of Kunlun comes Squirrel Girl's new Cheerful Dragoness costume. As a deity of the southern realm, she commands an unbeatable dragon-tailed squirrel legion and speaks their ancient tongue. So,
isn't that right?
What do you guys think of this one? I actually don't have any video in the stream if you're watching the stream.
So we had a comment saying, why are they dragons when, in the Chinese New Year, it's Year of the Snake. I think this is just to be inclusive is not the word, but like less work, because these are mainstay skins that they could roll out every year. Not necessarily making them, having to do Year of the Snake, Year of the
Rat.
Yeah, all those different things. Because I mean, it's a Chinese studio, so they would be the first to, capitalize is the wrong word probably, but do something for Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. But also more inclusive, I guess, to make it a little bit more run of the mill. Is that rude to say?
No.
But
I think they use dragons as a common mascot.
It's just cool, man. Like, look at these
motif.
skins, guys. Look at these skins.
Yeah, that's cool.
The Moon Knight skin. This is the rise of the Lunar General. It says Moon Knight's new Lunar General costume emerges from the celestial heart of Kunlun. Clad in azure scales, this dragon-faced guardian protects the temple of the crescent moon and strikes fear into those who dare challenge its gates. Now, I will say, do yourself a favor. Go to their social media, either on X/Twitter, or they might even have this up on Blue Sky too. I'm not sure, and probably even Instagram and all that. Go watch the videos of these skins in motion.
They're dope,
dude.
So dope,
dude. This Moon Knight skin is incredible. Now, I will say, I'm not going to be buying it because I'm going to be wearing that black and gold skin that I got from hitting gold. But if I did not hit gold, I would almost definitely be purchasing this thing.
I'm definitely going to be getting the Squirrel Girl skin because she's one of my main duelists.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about. I love the Moon Knight skin. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it looks so good.
I don't know about rocking it though, because I'm torn between that and the Mr. Knight.
Yeah,
that's true, dude. The Mr. Knight is pretty
so
sweet.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's very formal.
I'm a fancy boy.
Ready to go. But I'm sorry, dude. The Moon Knight Lunar General, like the blades, the crescents in his
Yeah.
hands, and
And
kind of
shoulder
zoom in.
pads too, man.
Oh, it looks great. It looks really good.
Dragons on the shoulders.
I mean, if anything, this just shows how
Coloring.
they're knocking these skins out of the park, and that the sky's the limit again with everything.
I
they're
mean,
doing.
I do have a PlayStation gift card in front of me that I got for Christmas. So we'll see.
There you go. Let's see. We also had this week over on the social media feed, nice little Happy New Year message from the team. So Guan making another appearance. Dino is there. A bunch of people from
Dude,
the
they
team.
seem so chill.
And yeah,
I'd love to hang out with them.
nice to see that. You know what?
Come
Good
on
for
the show,
them,
guys.
right? Good for them for just like coming out there, throwing themselves out there, and wishing everybody Happy New Year. A lot of game studios don't do that, especially on a personal level like this. A lot of game studios
Yeah.
just put the random tweet out like, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for playing our game. It's going to be a great year.
In your experience working with companies and like different gaming companies, Mark, do you feel like that's more of a push from the company to kind of like make the team appear more personable and accessible, or do you feel like that is a push from the team to appeal to the players? Like,
honestly, dude, I think it's a mix of both. You know, like for me, coming from the Bungie side of things, like with Destiny, like early on Bungie, we had the community manager, Deej, was the guy that was the face, right? Everybody saw him when he was out there. So everybody was Deej. Anything they did, any promotion, whatever, he was the guy that you saw. Now, I'm not going to say he was the one that, you know, kind of made it a normal thing. Because even like Blizzard had people with like Kaplan and all those people that were out there. I think over time, that's just become kind of the norm for companies that want to foster just a good community. And so I think NetEase, again, learning from the mistakes from other companies and saying, you know what, we're just going to put ourselves out there. We're going to talk to our community. We're going to listen
the
to our community.
opportunities.
Yeah,
put it that way.
maybe that's the way to do it. But in the same sense, like I really watching this video, I think it's sincere. Like I really think that it is that they're out here doing this and saying we want to be out there because number one, the game is doing great. So there's I'm sure there's a lot of positivity in the studio for the team, and it's great to see them. And I think the community just is embracing them, which is fantastic. So very cool for them to go ahead and put that video out there, and not just put out just a regular tweet for us.
I hope we get more from them. I would love. I watch a lot of YouTube, and specifically a lot of like artist pages where it's like, you're keeping track of like, the latest music videos, but here's the behind the scenes, here's the, getting ready to go on tour. Like, give me the reality show without giving me the reality show. Just give me small little bits and pieces of how they work. Let me see what it's like, running Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. Very cool.
That would be cool. Like a documentary or something if they put it out.
Yeah.
Just to go through the launch and creating some of the characters. I'd love to see that.
Now, I don't know. I'm going to say we're probably not getting it for this game, but if you ever want to watch a cool YouTube channel that does that with video games, is the No Clip. Danny O'Dwyer, I used to work for GameSpot like years ago, started his own company, No Clip, and there's some great documentaries about video games. There's like a whole 3 or 4 part series on Final Fantasy 14, which is awesome.
Nice.
Never heard of it.
So go watch the No Clip YouTube channel if you're looking for some video game documentaries. Let's see. We also had this week a announcement of another set of collabs coming, and that is coming to Marvel Snap, Marvel Puzzle Quest, and Marvel Future Fight. Again, once you're listening to this, those may already be available. But we are going to be getting some sprays in-game, as well as some nameplates that are going to be coming with these. We don't know exactly what you need to do with those. So that's cool. I mean, I just love that there's like this whole like circle of using all these Marvel properties.
Good synergy.
Spread the word, right? I mean, it is. I'm sure the marketing people at Marvel are loving every minute of this. It's just like, yeah, just do it. They're probably just approving everything. Like, yep. It's just pushing everybody forward and having everybody just get involved with all these different Marvel properties. So the Marvel Snap season, I actually really, every time I log into Snap here over this past month, you kind of see that Rivals thing in the front. It really made me want to go in and get the card backing, but anytime I would really be playing Marvel Snap, I would be wanting to play Rivals. So it's just like, now look, Snap is it's a great toilet game. I'm going to say yes. I know that for a fact, but I wasn't playing it enough.
Who uses their phone in the bathroom?
I'm not sitting on the throne long enough to unlock that card.
Light's
backing.
falling asleep, my guy.
Let's see what else. The Marvel Rivals Championship is underway. Of course, that is the in-game tournament. The finals are coming up this Sunday on January 5th, and we did get some schedule announcements here. So the North American schedule is set to the finals are set to kick off January 5th from what do they have that? They list that. I guess that would be 2 p.m. Eastern time. That is the North American PC and console. Let's keep going through these. The European one is set shortly to go a little bit thereafter. That is going to actually same time.
That's CET.
No, that's CET. So
it's basically all day. The Europe stuff starts in the morning. I was on last weekend, and I kept getting the things, and they're just replaying them as well too. So you can tune in and watch some Rivals this weekend for sure.
Yeah, very cool, man. Too
it's
how
on
they were doing that
both
last
days.
weekend.
Actually, Friday night as well. So all weekend.
Yeah, I liked how they were just. It just seemed like I'd wake up in the morning and you get that notification, like, "Oh, the channel's live and they're doing the finals." Yep. It was kind of cool to see that.
In the morning,
we also got a message
Rivals.
from Jiva Viri, and this came to us, and they said, Jiva Viri. He's over in the Twitch chat right now. He said, "Another great pod. I'm addicted to esports, so I watched all of the championship games streamed for Asia, Europe, and USA. And if you're not crazy like me, I thought it might be nice to give the patented Jiva's must-watch game of the week." Jiva's must-watch game of the week. And he says, this week is from the European region, and it's Ex Oblivion versus Peak Czech. This was an insanely close game going 2-3, and the teams actually drew one game. There was a lot of pretty standard team comps as well as some much more unorthodox comps like Triple Duelist and One Vanguard. It's also the first game I have watched where a team opted to not use their hero save during the pick ban phase to make sure the strategy they were going to use wasn't giving away from saving a specific hero. This comment is getting a bit long, so I will stop for now since I could talk about this stuff forever. Thanks again for the pod, and keep up the great work. So, Jiva Veri, thank you for that recommendation. And again, that was the European region. It was Ex Oblivion versus Peak Czech.
They were probably going to run like a DPS Jeff strat, where, Jeff is like the anchor and, he just goes in and decimates it. Everyone just clears the path and he builds up his ult and just like eats everybody. So effective.
Yummy. It's great.
I got a couple things with this. One is not using their save so they don't give it away. But isn't like you can change your heroes once you see what their team comp is. So does that really not give it away, or they're looking for that first team
pick
fight?
Someone super random?
Yeah.
Interesting. The other part is I used to watch a lot of StarCraft esports, and they had, I think it was just a third-party app they had, but it was like a great platform that organized all these games, and you could pick like a series to watch, and it would hide spoilers for you, so it wouldn't tell you how many games there were and all of that. Like right now, I don't know if they're actually doing anything outside of their full, here's our stream from the day, you can go find your bookmarks or whatever. Like I don't think they're doing separate videos for each game, but that would be awesome if they somehow organized it, or if
I think in game when you go to the tournament screen, I think you can click on the matchups and watch it in game. I think. Okay. So of course you're not going to get the casting and all that, but you can then go around and just watch
like
it
all the VODs,
right?
If it's not even in non-live ones. Okay.
Yeah, I think you can do it within game, so then you can jump around to different players and heroes, and I mean it's really cool too. The whole just in-game interface, like you can see on the bottom of the screen like a red bar and a blue bar, and you see where the kills were, so you can like just jump to that, see those heroes, and that they did a great job. Like right out the
unless
gate,
you accidentally click highlight, then
then you
half an hour later.
Let's see.
Exciting. I'm gonna check that out for sure.
Yeah, check it out. One final bit here for the news is the Marvel Unlimited Infinity comic number 3, the Marvel Rivals comic. Issue 3 has been released, and Neil, you and I know read this, and what do you think of this one, dude? I mean, there's a little, I don't want to say a twist at the end, but there kind of is. There's a new character popping up at the end, and it's all kind of led by Galacta herself at the end, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't know if it's really teasing what's going to happen in the game at all, or any mechanic that would be in the game, but it kind of plays into the idea that heroes can be swapped out at any point, and we have that happen at the end.
Is this a character new to, like, that's not on the roster?
No, they're on the roster. They're already on the roster. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's just say she shows up, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of playing into the game, and then you can change characters. Like, it looked like they were just setting up, so it would be like in the spawn. If you go and change characters, it's just kind of showing that in a comic form.
Yeah,
interesting.
But overall, I thought, you heard me reading it before the show here. I was laughing out loud a few times. I love my favorite characters are Venom and Thor. I'm pretty sure they're both hilarious.
Yeah, Thor is great in this one. Great. He thinks he's going to be all strong, big bad guy, and then kind of starts rattling off the list of all the people he's going to have to face, and he's just like
1v6, maybe not.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. And then there is a cool moment between Peter and Penny in this one too. Kind of trying to figure out, like, is he her dad?
Are you my dad?
Like, what's going on there? Which is kind of cool. So
Dimension 20.
Yeah. Go.
Do we know what we haven't done our Penny episode, I guess.
Richard Parker, I think, is her dad. That was kind of, I think.
That's kind of like the Galacta talks about it too. I think in issue 2.
She did mention here, and she's like, no, it's not right, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, wait, did you just call me Richard? So
she's like literally a little kid. So
are they related, or who's Richard? Is that like
Richard is Peter Parker's dad in main 616, and so it stands to make sense that in the multiverse that Richard Parker is her, or a form of Richard Parker is her father as well, since she is that universe's spider totem.
Oh, wow. But then she's also from the future, no? Anyway, we'll get into that.
Comics, Neil. Comics.
That's a thing. It's a whole thing.
it doesn't need to make sense. It's just comics, dude. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn about it.
But yeah, so definitely, like we've always said, man, Marvel Unlimited, go check it out. And actually, I don't know, have the sprays been released yet? I can't remember if those are going to be coming if you were subscribed, but very soon I think that's going to be hitting emails on that, where you can get your Marvel Unlimited spray if you were a subscriber before Christmas, I think it was, right? December something.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, that's it for the news. Let's move on here to our lore segment. And as promised, we're talking Doctor Strange in our segment that we call the Cerebro Files.
Cerebro Files.
All right. Well, I can't help but feel that this was one that was going to be in the making, no matter what, whether somebody recommended it or not. Because, folks, and I'm pretty sure he is your favorite Marvel character, Matt. If not, I don't know if he's your favorite character.
Roll back the tape. I think he said that.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, right? I mean, I think from the original time we were ever playing Marvel Champions, it was all, there it is.
Matt is putting on
my Eye of Agamotto
necklace. Very nice. I want to know, Matt, did you create a new account to suggest this to the stream? Was that you?
No.
Well, guys, we have to do Doctor Strange.
That was
you. I have no shame, and I literally would have just been like, hey, guys, we're doing Doctor Strange this week. Oh, I know you said you wanted to do Venom, but I prefer Doctor Strange. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love Doctor Strange. I think what first drew me to the character was some of the artwork in some of the different arcs, because Marvel has, especially with Doctor Strange, in the books, I think over the past like 20 years, they've really sought out artists with a unique style and have taken big swings with the Doctor Strange artwork, which is initially what drew me, to the book. But then, of course, like I love Marvel Studios, Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. He consistently has a really fun kit in the Marvel games that I've played. I loved him in Marvel Future Revolution, Marvel Future Fight, even in Marvel Strike Force, super fun.
Did you use him in Midnight Suns?
Yes, I did. I loved him in Midnight Suns. Shout out to Midnight Suns. If you haven't played Marvel's Midnight Suns, look it up on Steam. Look it up on your platform. It is
good.
super cheap. It has 4 DLCs, 4 DLC chapters that you can download. It is worth every minute of it. Like, it's a little bit of a different game. It's kind of like a card-based strategy game, but amazing voice cast. Anyway, Doctor Strange. Let's see. The Sorcerer Supreme. Yours and mine. He gets around. He's been a part of a lot of different teams. What teams do you guys know that Doctor Strange has been a part of?
The Avengers.
Right.
I did. I watched some things on him today. The Defenders was what I was interested in.
Yeah.
That's with Namor and who else in that? Hulk as well.
For a time, yeah. The Defenders is another. They're a little bit more street level. Most famous now is the pairing of Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist, and especially because of the Netflix show too.
Right.
But that's just one iteration of the team, more street level than the Avengers, and Doctor Strange was with him for a time when he was kicked out of the Avengers. He's left the Avengers. But yeah, been a part of the Defenders, the Infinity Watch, all to do with watching out for the Infinity Stones, the Thor Corps, the Black Priest, the Savage Avengers, which is another fun and severely under talked about book.
Was that the run where, like, well, I mean, I guess maybe they had their own run, but they were at the beginning of that Avengers book. Was it like 2018, 2017, where it was like Odin?
No.
Okay.
This was those are the prehistoric Avengers.
Prehistoric, that's what that was. Okay.
Right. And they had their own Sorcerer Supreme, who I believe was a woman. Kind of like a monk. They might have even been like a dual host to the Iron Fist. I could be incorrect. But the Savage Avengers there was Kazar from the Savage Land and Doctor Strange and a couple other characters associated with that. The Illuminati, the comic Illuminati, not the real Illuminati that we know and talk about. The new Avengers, the Midnight Suns, the Secret Defenders, going back to like Secret War, and the list goes on and on. But basically, if you've seen Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange, then you already have a pretty good baseline knowledge of, Stephen Strange. Is a world-renowned surgeon, but kind of like peeling back the layers, and over the years, we found out that when he was born, he was almost predestined to become the Sorcerer Supreme. Right. The Ancient One had his eye on Stephen Strange from the time he was a young boy, even to the point where the Ancient One gave up the chance to tutor and mentor Damon Hellstrom, literally the son of Satan, huge magic potential. Eventually became, part of the Midnight Suns, became a hero for a time as well.
Cool.
Like turned that down because he knew that, Stephen Strange was out there. Also someone who knew this was Baron Mordo, who tried to get rid of Strange as a kid. Let's just say that. And you can read about that in the comics. But basically, there's an episode where Strange is able to save his sister's life. That gets him interested in the field of medicine. He becomes this great surgeon. That he is in a car accident and loses the use of his hands. And even though he has some of the best help in the world, try and help him, it's not enough. And so he seeks out, gets rid of all his earthly possessions, seeks out the Ancient One. It turns out he has this huge aptitude for sorcery. and wielding these ancient mystical weapons and items used by the Sorcerer Supreme. And fast forward, becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. And
That was easy.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just making jokes.
Oh.
That was easy.
The end. No, but a very interesting rogues gallery. Doctor Strange he premiered in April 1963, so another fairly old character, which means that we have a unique rogues gallery, if you will. Some real interesting characters who you can see the evolution of the idea of magic and sorcery over the years at Marvel and what that means. That's all I'll say about that. But I guess coming more into present day, we've seen Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, basically the protector of Earth and this realm from magical threats, mystic threats, if you will. And he's stationed at the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York City. He's been present through all these huge events, like you name it in Marvel continuity, and he's been there. He also has like kind of a supporting cast of characters. There's Clea, his ex-wife, who has her own interesting mystical background, which you can look into.
She might be appearing in the MCU, right?
She already has.
I mean, she has, but like, I mean, a bigger role here moving forward.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But one of the side characters that I wanted to just briefly talk about is Bats, his ghost basset hound. So for a time, Stephen Strange, lost his ability to act as a surgeon. So he became a veterinarian. He moonlighted.
Oh, nice.
And he was given watch over this basset hound named Bats, and basically wanted someone to talk to. So he cast a spell on Bats, allowing him to speak English. And so
Nice.
whenever he talks, it's English. And when you see him talk in the comics, it's regular speech bubbles. This was around the time that Loki made a grab for the title of Sorcerer Supreme, which has been... Strange is really bad at holding on to the title. Other people, lots of different people have taken it from him. But Loki kind of steals some of the items and basically usurps this title of Sorcerer Supreme from Strange. They get in a fight in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and amid the fight, Bats goes to defend Doctor Strange, and Loki accidentally knocks him out, and his heart gives out and he dies.
Oh no.
Doctor Strange follows Loki into Asgard to Yggdrasil to try and like have a final, showdown. And he lays Bats' body down at the Earth Tree, or the World Tree. And once the whole, because he doesn't really have anything else to offer, this world of Asgard. And once
Just dead dog.
he references the former the body of his companion who he had loved and admired.
He did.
And once the conflict is over and he returns back home as Sorcerer Supreme once again, the ghost of Bats appears and now is his constant companion. And so he's now a mainstay in the comics as well, the ghost of Bats, the dog. One of the things I definitely wanted to get in was the Sorcerer Supreme of the Galaxy, because we have that 6 skin in game.
Oh yeah.
This black suit with the cape and the silver accents. And in the comics for a time, a cosmic god basically absorbs all the magic from Earth, all these items, everything that channels this mystic energy is gone. So Stephen Strange loses his powers. Talking to Iron Man, he's convinced to go out to the stars to try and find another way to be the Sorcerer Supreme. If that's who he is, then he'll find a way. He's a doctor. He can fix any problem, fix this. And so he finds another way to fuel his powers, partly using Asgardian magic, and creates this new weapon, a sword called the Scalpel of Strange,
Nice.
which he uses to help defend the universe. For a time, even becoming the Herald of Galactus, the Herald Supreme. But most recently in comics, we went through the death of Doctor Strange.
He did.
No.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. The book is called
No.
The Death of... I will not go. Turn the lights off. Carry me home.
It's in the title.
But... And you think it's... how? If you were to think Doctor Strange is going to be killed, how do you think it would happen?
With his own scalpel of the galaxy.
Okay.
His hands don't work very well anymore. You nick a
There you go.
artery. That's it.
What if I were to tell you...
A car accident.
He opens his door in New York and someone stabs him.
Oh. It's like, hey, you stole my dog.
Someone says trips down
With
some
what?
stairs.
What did they
Storm
stab
on
him
it.
with? Was it like a special
Just
knife of some kind, or?
Just
Is it Loki?
No, but I'll let you read the book and find out.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
But basically, this it's a limited event. I believe it was 5 issues, and the artwork and the variant covers. Holy moly, dude! That was one of the first Strange books that I collected physically. But basically, during that whole event, Clea becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, and she is Clea Strange, so technically, like, she is, strange.
Right into it.
But is she a doctor?
Define doctor, like
You go to school and actually get a doctorate degree.
like I had an English teacher who had a doctorate in English, and he told us to call him doctor, and it was just like,
Oh, wait a minute. I have my doctorate in pharmacology. It's hanging up right here on the wall right now. You can start calling me doctor. That's fine.
Dr. Mark, sir.
Dr. Turks.
But yeah, basically, he's not dead. Through
Of
some
course not.
shenanigans.
Comics.
you.
Comics.
Oh,
JK guys.
cancel that flower order. We're good. We're good.
But after that, strikes a deal with Death.
That's never a good idea. If I know one.
And Death is its own interesting character in the Marvel universe, and has to join with Clea. They fuse into one being, known as Strange, to defeat some evil.
That's crazy. That's strange.
As Death's servant, and that's
Wow. This was all in that 5-issue series?
no, that's after he comes back as well. The issue series is basically follows Clea as she's trying to figure out who killed him, and get revenge, and everything else there I'll let you read and figure out.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so recommendations for reading. I mean, definitely
Yes.
recommend Death of Doctor Strange. If you've never read Doctor Strange before, just read his death.
So there's a really good arc called Doctor Strange Season 1. Think Batman Year One.
Oh, cool.
Those DC era titles. So this was from a short line of like graphic novels that Marvel did, all Season 1 on characters. So if you want like the quick and dirty background and like the OG days of Doctor Strange, that's a good one.
Okay.
There's a good volume called Sorcerer Supreme Once More. And this is Doctor Strange is not on the Avengers. He's on the Defenders. He's been stripped of his title as Sorcerer Supreme. Dr. Voodoo is actually Sorcerer Supreme at this time. And this is Brian Michael Bendis. If you
Nice.
just, that's all I have to say.
Yep.
Just
I have
read
a
it.
question.
Yes.
The title of Sorcerer Supreme, is that like a belt in the WWE? Like once you defeat the Sorcerer Supreme, you get it? Or it's like, do you get
As long as
voted
it's a
in?
pay-per-view,
Who
Neil. If it
decides?
wasn't on pay-per-view, then it probably isn't going to change hands.
If it's a tables, ladders, and chairs, then yes.
It'll end in a
But-
disqualification.
Okay.
Titles don't change
Yeah,
hands with a disqualification.
Like who decides who's that? Is it you have to hold an item? Is it like the white saber? What's that? You have to
the dark saber.
dark saber. That's
There
what I was
you go.
thinking. Have to win it in battle.
That's a very convoluted answer.
Okay.
And
Great.
there's about 60 years of comics that contradict themselves.
Comics.
Comics.
Okay.
There's also Doctor Strange versus Dracula, which is just a fun. It's an older book, but it's crossover between like a Marvel Dracula book, because monster books used to be a thing with both DC and Marvel, which is really cool.
Before the comics code.
Yeah. So you can check that out. One that I really like, and that has also popped up a lot in probably a lot of lists over the past decade or so, is The Way of the Weird. This is Jason Aaron and Chris Bacalo. And Doctor Strange, they're trying to get rid of the abomination of magic, if you will. What's a good way to describe it without like giving it away? What is magic? It's almost think like resetting the slate on magic in the Marvel comic universe, like getting things back in order because they got away from us. So let's do this. Let's have Doctor Strange go out and try and rein things in.
Nice.
But Jason Aaron, very, very, very good. Doctor Strange has a huge battle axe.
Oh,
Nice.
Two more.
Okay.
A Separate Reality. Think like Lovecraftian, Cthulhu-esque, horror adjacent. Sick art. Steve Englehart, Frank Brunner on art. Fantasy horror, if you will. Just such cool vibes. And then some of the art that I loved is Doctor Strange, The Oath. And this is Brian K. Vaughan and Marco Martin. And it's kind of like small story, big stakes. Like I feel like really good stories are either small scale, big stakes, or big scale, small stakes. And this is like small scale, big stakes. And Doctor Strange gets shot and he's trying to track down the person who shot him. But also Wong has been diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Oh.
And throughout
Random.
the course of trying to find who shot him, he is eventually faced with the decision of, do I save Wong or do I save the entire world? And so friendship, what is a true hero? What is the greater good? What is it? All these tough questions and amazing art. So that is
Wow.
Doctor Strange, The Oath.
You're giving me feelings of Marvel Spider-Man on PlayStation at the end of that first game. And just, who do you save? Do you save one or do you save the many? Oh, terrible. All right, well, there you go, man. Now, you mentioned real quick vampires. The in-game lore, Neil, you put that in here. If you go read the story for Doctor Strange within the game, Dr. Doom actually visits Strange and asks him to perform a vampire spell from the Darkhold. And refusing to do so, a fight ensues. So a little bit of vampire issue going on there with Strange and Doom in the game lore. So that may be a little taste of things to come. All right.
Bats shows up in that, and now that I have the background, it makes it even better. good read there. So I guess strangest place in the game is Dr. Doom come to visit. He says, hey, can I do this? Because I think I've figured out time and space. He's like, you don't want to mess with that, man. He's like, okay, well,
It's
thanks.
interesting that Doom would ask for permission.
Yeah, well, he needed this spell from Darkhold, right? And he said no,
okay.
and he left. And then 3 months later, Strange starts like sensing an issue, and then tries to stop it because Dr. Doom obviously figured it out without him. And then the idea is he's stuck in the mirror dimension, lost in the time stream, but he's able to use his power to free himself temporarily and join the fight. So he shows up for the battles in game, and then he leaves. And he comes back.
Nice. So there you go. There's some Doctor Strange lore for you. A nice little dump of Doctor Strange goodness.
Sorry, that was a pretty big dump.
No, dude. Hey, take all the dumps you. Hey, you know I got Marvel Snap here when we're talking.
Had a lot of fiber today. Sorry.
But hey, for next time on the next episode, we got a recommendation from Junior Jones, and he says, "Do lore on Bucky, please. He is my main, and I don't know much about him. Loving your work so far. Keep it up." So yes, we will be doing the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, next week. Lots to discuss there, because are we doing Bucky Barnes in general, or are we just doing Winter Soldier because that's who's in the game? Are we doing both? Are they both the same? I don't know. Find out on the next episode.
We did talk a little bit about it. We did a Captain America episode, right?
We did, but we're going.
So go check that out as a precursor.
There you go.
And then
re-listen to all the episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go back.
Tell your mom.
Tell your mom. Tell your friends.
Fun fact: Bucky is the only character I have not played in this game yet.
Really?
He's
0 hours played.
So fun, Neil.
Yeah, he's great.
You would
dude.
love him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great DPS. But I think the very first night I played him a bunch and was like, I was thinking like he was going to become like my main DPS, but not totally. But all right.
Wanted the Overwatch player that I love watching.
Yeah.
He plays a mean Winter Soldier. If you ever need somebody to watch.
There you go. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on here to our final segment, our part of the show where we get you involved that we call What Ifs. All right. Now, remember, of course, you can always email us, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. But the best way to get in touch with us is comments probably through Spotify or on one of our other social network avenues, just like Ben Crockett did. And he said, okay. I'll start using Spotify for podcasts. Hi from Oz, guys. I refuse to listen to any other Rivals podcast, but this one, and you all have me hyped up to get into the comics now. And I wanted to put that in there because, here we are talking about how, they're doing things with Snap and doing things with Puzzle Quest and doing things with Marvel Unlimited. I mean, Ben basically just showed exactly why they're doing that, because it's like the comics have always been the Marvel thing and they've just kind of branched out into all these other avenues. And there you go. So Rivals just doing exactly what they want to do by getting this all together. So, Ben, you got a nice road ahead of you, my friend, with the comics for sure, dude.
Yeah, enjoy the summer and reading and on the beach and gosh, the nice warm sun right now.
I would give you two pieces of advice. Number one, Marvel Unlimited, great way to get into comics, and just read whatever you're interested in. Like you don't have to even like start at issue 1 for anybody. Just find what you want to read. Read a couple issues. If you don't like it, move on to something else. And then the other thing I would tell you is, we still have a couple months to go for this, but I would find out where your local comic book shop is. And is it always the first weekend in May?
Yes, it is.
Comic Book Day.
Comic Book Day. The first Saturday.
Yeah, the first Saturday of every May is free Comic Book Day. So be sure to
just
find
make sure your store
shop.
Participates.
Yeah, which most of them do.
Yeah.
But yeah, get out there and support your local shop. It's always a great thing to do too. So Marvel Unlimited is great, but it's always great too to just get that paper, in your hand, actually get that real book.
Yeah, check out your library. Check out. I don't know if they have it in Australia, Libby, and what's the other one? Just apps connected to your local library. Where
they may.
Digitally.
But yeah, that's a great way to read books to you. Let's see, we got another one from James Finnegan, and he said the Danger Room would be a sick map. He said so many possibilities. He says they got to do an NYC map, which I think we might be getting
Bam.
that after the teaser this week.
Give 'em to you.
He says, I got a question for you. What are your top 5 wanted characters? He said, I'd love to see Juggernaut, Colossus, Dr. Octopus, Hydro Man, and Rogue.
I don't know those last two.
Rogue
Rogue?
from the X-Men?
Oh, yes.
Now, in her case, you would be absorbing powers, so she'd almost be like a Echo. But I would put, she's not on the same level as like a Taskmaster, because I think they would definitely play a little bit different. But I mean, Rogue would probably be absorbing the powers, but she's incredibly strong, so she would be like, fighting Hulk, fighting thing, you know.
I'd make her a Vanguard and give her like an actively nerfed ability to absorb power. So it's like you get the ability, but it's not as strong as theirs because she'd be too OP. Let's be real.
Or just make it last for 5 seconds, and you know, then it's on a long cooldown or whatever.
You get one hit.
Yep, pretty much. Did you guys make a list? Did you guys make five character list?
Oh
I
yeah.
did.
Who wants to go first?
Off the dome.
Well, I loved actually just going through some of these. I didn't finish reading the comment when I started on my own list, and none of these are on my list. But Dr. Octopus would be awesome. Think of that. Like they have all the wall crawling, right?
Yep.
Have that traversal going on and
superior Spider-Man skin.
And have one of the claws with a big spike come out of it. Wow.
Yeah.
You just
Obviously Juggernaut, Colossus, also great. Just smash through those walls.
Yep.
That'd be cool. Top of my list here is Ghost Rider.
Yes.
I think give him some movement abilities, drive cars up the wall or whatever. We were talking about Midnight Suns earlier, and he was a character in that, and he had some great abilities there with his chains, draining energy, pulling people to hell. Yeah.
Now that would be the question though. Are you going Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, which is the original? Are you going Danny Ketch, which is the 90s, or are you going Robbie Reyes, which is the
Robbie
car?
Reyes? Come on. After what we saw in Marvel's Midnight Suns.
See, my Ghost Rider, dude, is Danny Ketch, because that was like when I got into comics in the 90s. But I like the Robbie Reyes, but give me the motorcycle, dude. What the... I mean, what's this all going to be? The big car driving down the lane, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the car to be Ghost Rider.
Know,
he is Ghost Rider, and then like the ult is
he's gotta ride
you have
something.
the car drive through and just mow people down.
Yeah.
like a Bast kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what they would do. Yeah. Open up the gates of
Or
hell.
it'd be cool if it would be a mobility for your team too, right? Like, okay, everybody hop in the car. We're gonna ride to the point.
You somehow get like the point on top of the car and just
That'd be great. Where do you have the Penton stare too? You know how like is that like stun the whole team?
Yeah.
Like boom, and it stuns everybody on the team.
Like Medusa.
Yep, I think that'd be sweet. Who else you got, Neil?
Blade, and we'll see if he comes with season 1, but he's another one of my favorite characters, also in the Midnight Suns.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, port some of those characters over just how they were. Like
We got Magic, right?
Morbius.
Yeah.
So good.
Nico.
Ooh, Nico Minoru.
Yeah, just have that.
No
You don't know what your abilities are going to be. It's going to be random every time. Another one I got here is Nightcrawler. I think you could play with the
Bamfing all over.
teleportation. Pretty fun. Yeah.
Bamf.
And maybe that would be I know you were talking about Cloak and how he was supposed to be like the bus carrying people around, but maybe you could have some team ups with Nightcrawler. Like, hey,
There you go.
I'm going to teleport you while you're about to do your ult. Similar to what they're doing with the Strange Portals kind of thing with some of those.
Think if you could just like think about the rage clips we'd see if a Nightcrawler just all of a sudden bamfs into your backline, grabs your little snow, bamfs out over the expanse of nothingness, drops her, bamfs back to the battlefield.
That's the perfect like anti-Jeff.
I hate it.
I love it. That's like the new Jeff. That would
There's
be
got to
like
be a cooldown.
Oh, it'd be great.
We'll see. Other ones quickly here. Silver Surfer, which maybe we'll get that too. Give me another flyer and all the fun stuff that he could have. Vision was my last one.
I think would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. He could be more of like a Vanguard maybe, and let him fly around too.
Go through walls.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. Who
That's
you
a
got,
good
Matt?
list. So Nightcrawler was on mine, but I'll skip him and go to just like do one off the dome. I think Archangel, specifically Archangel.
Yeah, not
from
Angel,
the
Archangel.
X-Men.
Okay.
Not Angel. Horseman of the Apocalypse.
Big metal
Archangel.
wings.
Yes, as probably a duelist, and have some sort of sick, messed up team up ability with Psylocke, since they're, lovers in the comics. But it's just like, think of the voice and it's like, I don't even recognize you anymore. I don't know who you are. I serve a stuff like that. That'd be really fun. Thinking of like the narrative behind it as well, but also super like huge amount of skins available for that. Mystique.
She'd be
I think
Oh, go ahead.
I was trying to think of a way that she could copy abilities, almost thinking like once she sees the team face up, she's able to, like, her entire kit is their abilities. So she has to pick like a melee. She has to pick, a primary fire. She has to pick, you have to pick your kit on the fly there. And maybe every time you die or get knocked out, you have an opportunity to choose another ability from that team's kit.
Interesting.
Even like having the who you present as be different. I think that would keep it fresh and not just, copy like Loki.
Yeah.
Just like kind of pick and choose your
Because I'm
abilities
thinking
there.
like too, like Mortal Kombat, Shang Tsung, you can like be anybody, but you kind of have to know how to do it. And then how cool would it be? Like the big thing with Mystique is like she blends in. What if you like actually blended in and it didn't have you as an enemy, and like the other team had to figure out like, are you there?
You're
Hulk?
not highlighted in the different color.
Exactly. Which Hulk is your Hulk? That would be wild, dude. That's her ult. That may be an ult.
Knock
like
them
it's
both
suddenly
out.
like whoop, you like kind of like swap somehow. I don't know.
Cut the child in half.
I don't know how that works, but that'd be super cool, dude. If they were
That
able to
would
do
be
that, where it like totally throws the other team off.
That'd be so cool.
Or you know what they do? Maybe your character stays in the lane as like a bot, like an AI character, so it looks to them like you're still playing, but then you've actually infiltrated their team on the like in the back line somehow. I don't know. Like there was a way to kind of manage.
What
that
if
somehow.
this
That'd be
might be
wild.
more like multiple man ish, but like what if for an ult she just became a team? like
Lost
for-
Vikings in isn't that
for
was that in
10
Heroes?
seconds your team is like 10 players.
Or 12.
I don't know. I think picking and choosing her kit would also open up its own like meta. So it's like, what's the best Mystique kit when you're facing all these people? I'm very much the high concept person here. Kind of feeding into my next one, Lifeguard. So Lifeguard is a lesser known character from the Extreme X-Men run in the early 2000s when the X-Men are in Australia. Shout out Ben Crockett. And they're basically finding people with latent mutant genes and they're activating them. So these are people who aren't mutants, but they have the potential to be because it's kind of like in their blood or whatever, and they're exploiting that and making them like activating their mutant powers, which there's a whole ethics thing about that, whatever. But Heather Cameron is Lifeguard, and her mutant power is that she is given any ability that she needs in that moment. So in like one fight, she all of a sudden sprouts wings and is able to fly away.
Oh.
One fight, she is given like she develops golden like skin, kind of like a cross between Emma Frost and Colossus. And she becomes like endurable or majorly whatever, invincible. That's the word. So I think it'd be cool to see how you could craft a kit that's almost like rolling a D20.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going up against this character. Let me roll the dice. You tell me what ability I have. Almost.
It's cool.
Or maybe if it like cycles through, right? Because you want to know kind of what you're gonna do. Maybe one would be like a ranged attack.
But make her
this or
make
that.
her 5-star. Make her incredibly
Yeah.
difficult, and you have to be able to deal with the not knowing.
Get
I don't
good,
know.
bro.
Yeah, right. Black Cat, just because I like Black Cat as a character. And then I saw this was on Kenz's list as well, Professor X. If anybody ever played X-Men Mutant Academy 2 for the PlayStation 1, you know that playing Professor X was one of the sickest characters because yes, he has like telepathy and stuff like that, but he could also do this like backflip where he'd uppercut you with his hover chair.
Excuse me?
No.
And he just, and you could get like a 20 hit combo in.
Crazy, dude.
If you go out,
what game was this?
X-Men Mutant Academy 2 on the PlayStation 1.
All right.
See, dude, I would see though if they added Professor X now, it would be the Professor X like from the Krakoa age.
Don't want it.
But that's what they're gonna do. Like that's kind of where we are. I mean,
there's skin. Don't want it.
I know with the helmet, you know, with the
don't want it.
But it's coming, man.
Don't want it.
That's what I would think would be there.
I want golden hover chair Professor Xavier, not my Charles Xavier.
So is this like a Street Fighter game?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Very light story
That's
mode.
amazing.
You can just go watch the clips. They're
hilarious. I pulled that up. That's amazing.
But yeah, that's my list.
Nice. All right, so on my list, and I know I've said it on here before, I want the Flash Thompson Venom. So I want the kind of Venom suit, but with the dual pistols, maybe give him a grenade of some kind, but you're able to kind of get around by swinging with the symbiote suit, but then also have the pistols I think would be cool. I also have Daredevil. I think Daredevil would just fit into this game perfect as like a melee, being able to even swing like with the nunchucks I think would be awesome.
Do you just have a black screen when you play him?
Yeah, you can't see anything. I don't even know what his ult would be, but I just think Daredevil would be cool as hell.
Rude.
Him and Iron Fist out there would be awesome. I have Cyclops, dude. For some reason in this game, I can just picture Cyclops running a lane, just like giving little blasts, and then like a whole huge cone, just optic blast, just like blast the whole screen. I think would be cool as hell.
Give him slow fall, but with his beams.
Yep. I have Ant-Man on there because I think Ant-Man, when you watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, and like when they're fighting, going from like small to big, and like that sound like going in and out, I think that'd be super cool. Kind of how like. What's his name? Star-Lord has the one ability where he's like, like shooting all like crazy. I think that would be a cool ability for Ant-Man, but it's similar idea, but it's melee. So you're kind of like popping in and out. But then I think his ult, I mean, he could go giant, but I think it'd be cool if he actually threw pin particles at, like he just kind of, a bunch of them went out and whoever got hit with it from the enemy team got small and they were immediately vulnerable and you were able to like step on them like you would ants and they like one shot kill basically whoever's in the area. I think it would be cool. So rather than him be the one that either goes small and becomes big and does whatever, he throws the pin particles at them and they get small and then they take massive damage or whatever when you hit them.
Like a lightning bolt in Mario Kart,
basically. Exactly. Yes, it's the pin particle coming at you.
Or what if they just make their head extra big so it's easy to get headshots on them?
There you go.
Well, the hitbox is already huge. We're talking about like aim half a map away and you're hitting it.
Yeah, I don't want no like swarm of ants. Like we already have that with Squirrel Girl, keeping like the Squirrel Stampede. But I think it'd be cool to do something with that. And then my final one, and this is my kind of deep cut for a character, and I know Matt always laughs at him. I remember bringing this character up, is Sleepwalker. And this character, he's kind of creepy looking. He's got a hood. Yeah. Go check out the books. I mean, I just remember as a kid, it was like the first new character to come out when I had first gotten into comics, and the first like #1 issue, and I was like, oh, Sleepwalker, this character is going to be great. Literally went nowhere. Very short series. But they did release a figure of him just a couple of years ago, and I think they even did like a 4-issue miniseries during Secret Empire or one of the runs somewhat recently. But I think an alt for him that would be cool because he gets into your dreams is, and this is going back to the Paragon, the MOBA Paragon, third person. There's a character in there who is able to basically cast and you go into like kind of the separate realm. So I think it would be cool if his alt was you pick one character out and then you bring them to like this sleep realm where he goes and you essentially like 1v1 that person. And maybe he has somewhat of an upper hand when he pulls them in there. And if you get pulled into that realm, you're able to kind of fight him off possibly, but because you're in his realm, he has a little bit more, or the player has a little bit more advantage than you. So it's kind of a way to just kind of pick one person off on the other team. So you kind of got to use that ultimate, make sure you're picking off the right person and not, just taking off, a giant Hulk or something like that maybe you can only get half his health down. You want to make sure you cast this on one of the healers to take him out. I think it would be pretty cool.
That'd be sick.
So, so tell us what your top 5 are. Actually, Ken's in the chat. We mentioned Professor X. He also listed Deadpool, who I think would be awesome. And he's got to be coming to the game, right? Especially with the Wolverine skin and kind of the half the heart. I mean, Deadpool's coming. Green Goblin, he has on there.
That would be
pretty sick.
Nice.
Are we talking Green Goblin or Hobgoblin? Probably Green Goblin, right? You throw him
Green Goblin.
The pumpkin grenades. Angela, he mentioned.
Dope character.
Which I think that'd be
Half
cool.
sister of Thor.
Yeah, and I think
I was gonna say she's from Asgard, right? Giant sword.
Yep. And then Jane Foster, he has in there as well.
So Ken's, if you're listening, do you want the mighty Thor or do you want Valkyrie, or both?
I'm sure he wants both. Let's just I'll answer for him. But yeah, I think that's a great list, Ken's great list. But send us your list, guys. Tell us over on Spotify who are your top 5. We got one more here before we wrap it up, and this one comes to us from Pickle, and he says, "Do you guys think the game will continue to thrive the way it is now, or do you think it will die out? I hope it stays popular because I haven't enjoyed a game like this in a while." So I think the answer that I'll give is I think for a while this game is going to be kind of in the zeitgeist. And that's really because if the cadence of new heroes every season, I mean, they've told us there's new heroes coming in this game every season. We know the seasons are going to be, 12 weeks?
Least.
Right off the bat, we have just 4 heroes.
Crazy.
Chances are we're getting more than just the Fantastic Four in a week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever when the season comes out. If that's the cadence, this game is going to be popular for a while because that alone brings people to the game, right? I mean, it's
we're gonna hit Heroes of the Storm status one day when they're like, or league status where they're like a billion characters.
We don't want the hero status.
Yeah, we don't want to go that
by
way.
the amount of characters. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, I think just with this IP, and if the cadence is going this way, and this week there was a lot of discussion, watching a lot of, or just popping up in my YouTube feed from a lot of the bigger like Overwatch YouTubers and things like that. Just really talking about how this game, because they're so not focused on balance, kind of like Blizzard was with Overwatch. That's kind of one of the positives right now for a lot of people. And I think as more heroes get introduced into the game, that's what we're going to start to see is like the game they're not really trying to balance the game. They just want people to get out there to have fun. And what balances the game is the multitude of characters and having the option to counter those players. Right. And like, I mean, you can go back a handful of episodes and I was still on the bandwagon for give me roll queue. I need roll queue. After going through comp like I have and like playing now for a couple weeks, I'm like, I mean, I can understand people wanting to have the option for that to be a mode, but I'm almost of the mindset now, guys. Like I'm there. Like we don't need roll queue. Like part of the fun of the game is being able to counter in any role with any hero you want to get in there to try to make your team better. There's been plenty of matches where I've gone into a match and we have like 2 tanks and maybe 1 healer and 3 DPS, and then just by that switch from taking one of those vanguards off to create another duelist gives us that extra push that we need maybe on that second capture point. And then, someone else switches and then that gets us to that third point. Like having that ability at any time really is what makes this game unique right now for what it is, I think, compared to the major competitor Overwatch. I mean, let's be honest.
I think it's interesting. I don't know if I've ever played another game that does this, is you have the bans for obviously the top players, but then you can also change your character throughout the game. Like with League and all those other games, you pick a character at the beginning and you're stuck with that character for the entire match. But this one, you have those bans and everything, and then you can still change later. So I think that's an interesting.
I mean,
way
Overwatch,
to
you
do it.
can, right? I mean, you can switch kind of throughout the
You can.
match.
Do you ban? Do they have bans in Overwatch?
They've started, I think, in competitive.
competitive.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
but it wasn't there before, man. And that was what people were
Yeah.
always saying with that game is give us the bans, because then by doing that, I mean, you would hope that it would lead to a more interesting meta. But I mean, the way Overwatch is, just by trying to balance all the heroes out, it doesn't seem like it was ever really going to happen. Where in this game, we just have characters that are just OP'd, OP. And
I don't
know, go ahead.
Well, no, my comment is literally not important.
No. Well, and I mean, I say OP, but they're not, right? Every character kind of fits a part here. I guess having characters OP is not the right way to say it. It's just we have characters in here that are good against.
Role.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they've done such a great job, and I have all the confidence moving forward that they're going to continue to do that and not try to make every hero be, just totally balanced. And when I say balanced, I mean where it's just a full-on level playing field. It's like, no, some heroes are going to be stronger at one aspect of the game, and some are going to be other. On certain maps, some heroes are going to be great. On other maps, they're not. Like, that's just how this game is, and it's fantastic. And learning that meta and learning that is awesome. And anybody can just hop in and have fun as well. Like, you don't even have to go that deep into the game if you want to. Like, every season you show up, it's free. From day one of season 1, we know the Fantastic Four are all going to be free. So if somebody has yet to play this game and they're a Fantastic Four fan, they may dip in and just run around as the Thing and fly around as Johnny Storm, and that's all they want to do. And that's, I don't know. It's perfect, man. They've just really nailed this game.
Yeah, I think the thing is as well that we're not even a month into this game yet, and
Crazy.
people are, at first they say, "Oh no, Wolverine's bad," and then now you see some.
Tell me you don't know how to use
excellent
them.
Wolverines, right?
Yeah.
People are learning the characters, and as I said, there's characters that I haven't even played yet, but now we're gonna have 4 other ones next week or whenever the next season drops. So it's like it's a lot.
I watch a lot. I keep Twitch up while I'm at work, and I work nights, and so passively I'm watching a lot of people play different games. And the more that I've watched competitive, some people that we all know, some people that I don't know, is you see like the conversation around like characters are annoying or that's a trash character, and it usually means that you don't know how to play against them, which usually means either your team composition isn't what it should be, which is the more I'm learning is what this game is really about. How you can only go to a certain point wanting to solo queue and play that character that is fun for you. But if you want to maximize everything out of this game that you can get out of it, it is about understanding team composition and how. And I think it goes back to what you were saying about how characters don't need to be OP. Characters, I don't think there's a single OP character in this game. They're just people who know how to use them well. Right. And they're people who know how to use their favorite character to counter X, Y, and Z. And when you find that group of people who can understand that, then it's just like, oh, this is just a good competitive match,
right?
And not, Jeff the Shark is so annoying. He's the worst character. Okay, you might be joking, but he's actually a really good character. There are a lot of great Jeffs, who play. You might not like him, but maybe that's just because you don't know how, or you aren't. Maybe you do know how, but you're not facing off against him effectively.
Yeah.
I don't know, my 2 cents, because I hate when people say that something is like objectively bad when it's subjective. There's a huge difference between objective and subjective. So just because you like something doesn't mean it's bad. You're not one of those guys on TikTok who's asking people what's the worst anime of all time, and you're saying X, Y, and Z just because you don't like it.
Well, and
I'm on a tangent.
I mean, that's what I've really found I like about it is like when you're in a team and sure, you're going to get a team where some people just are not good in general, but a lot of times you get in a team where just the team comp isn't working.
I'm the personality hire. I get it.
but having that ability where, we're banging our head against a wall. We just, we keep coming up against that wall. We can't push through. And then just having that option to just change it up, not even just change the character within the role, but literally say, okay, well, we only have one healer. Why do we only have one healer? Let's throw 2. Or just for the hell of it, just for this point, let's throw 3 healers into it. Or let's throw, an extra DPS or, whatever it is.
Let's throw 3 Vanguards in until we can secure the point, and then we'll swap back to 3 DPS or whatever.
Right. Or sometimes what I've found is it's as simple as, maybe we have a Venom that's kind of doing great, but the healers aren't keeping them healed up enough, and I'm trying to run DPS as well. So I'll just switch to a Groot because our convoy, because Groot's great at just like making sure you can push forward, just putting those walls up. The simple thing, not even getting kills, just putting those walls up. Slowly, the convoy can kind of march forward just to get to the point. Let's get to the point, and then we'll worry about who we're switching to after that. And I've had plenty of games like that. And I don't know, this game just allows for that. It's great. So all right. Well, let's wrap it up there, guys. Episode 9, wrapping it up. Hopefully next week we will be talking about the trailer for season 1. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to get a release date as well for that. So we'll be breaking all that down. Hopefully there are some surprises in that trailer. Interested to see how much they're going to reveal in that. And is it going to be kind of the same lead up we had to launch last time? Are they going to show us this trailer and then like every day in the lead up, give us a map video, give us a hero video? Like, what are they going to do? Is it going to be kind of that similar cadence as we go up to it? And then even what new modes and all that. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Of course, we'll be talking about the Bucky lore. Like I said at the top of the show, be sure to go over on Spotify, enter our poll for the best dive tank. You can find that. Just click on the link. You'll see it in there. And if you are listening to this show, whatever platform it's on, leave us a little review if you can. That definitely helps move us up the ranks and get us some more eyeballs and ears on the show, which is awesome. And, of course, you can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Rivals Assemble. You can follow us on YouTube and on Twitch at Rivals Assemble Pod. And if you want, email the show, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. So, guys, any final thoughts here before we wrap this one up?
Should we make a prediction for Season 1 ahead of the trailer? See if anything comes out of it?
Again, we don't talk about leaks here on the show, and
correct.
I have seen a couple leaks that I don't even want to take.
Outside of your, if you could just fathom anything, like I think we could get an unexpected voice actor.
Oh, okay.
Voicing Fantastic Four. I mean, part of that's just me wanting like Jessica Alba to come voice it.
I mean, I think that we could get possibly, or what I would just like to see, is just a straight up deathmatch mode. Not team deathmatch, just straight up. Kind of like we have with Conquest, where it's 4v4, just straight up 8-person deathmatch. Just give it to us. It's a battle somewhere in the game.
Oh.
Every man for themselves.
Solo. Yeah. They had that in Halo. What was it called? The Pit? No.
Well, I mean, there's team deathmatch and then there's just deathmatch.
There's just deathmatch. Yeah.
Any bold prediction for Season 1, Neil?
No, New York based. Let's say some more of the Defenders showing up. Maybe get as you said, Daredevil. Or
I can see a She-Hulk.
Cage. She-Hulk.
She was part of the Fantastic Four at one point too. When the thing left, she filled in. I think that'd be a very easy fill.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. So, episode 9. Thank you guys here for tuning in to the show. And until next time, we'll catch you later. Peace.